Guys.
Ready?
Straight up.
Here we go. We're gonna call the selectmen's meeting to order here at 5 p.m. First up is to approve and sign the minutes from the August 29th meeting. Do I have a motion to accept those minutes?
I'll make a motion to accept them as presented.
I'll second.
All right, all those in favor? Aye. Next, we have to approve and sign the workshop minutes from Friday, September 5th.
I'll make that motion.
Sorry, that's a 5. Yeah. So we have a motion. Do I have a second?
Yeah.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Next up, we have Mr. Roy Sabourn here, regarding a lease agreement for 682 Daniel Webster Highway in Lower Woodstock.
Good evening, people. Thank you for seeing me.
Yeah.
This is relative to a lease that was signed back in 1995 by Linda and Malcolm Sonny, most of them that Havelock, to erect the chlorinator plant for the pipeline coming out of the old Woodstock Reservoir. It's recorded. If it hadn't been recorded, I wouldn't think twice about it, but it is recorded. So it's out there floating around in the title for Tiffany Avery Baumgarten, that was her name. And if you want, I do have a letter of authorization if you want a copy of that, just to show that I'm here on her behalf. Okay, but the bottom line is it's been out of there. Mike and I were just discussing it. There was a current use application put in 2001. There's Dave Thompson drew up the plan. I've got it at Virginia Farm. And so there's no indication that the chlorinated building and fencing and all that was even there at that time. So that's 20 plus years ago. And he says his brother worked for the town at the time and when they tore it all out. There's nothing out there now except maybe part of a foundation, a little bit of old scrap fencing that is still there. Everything else is gone. And the other thing Michael and I talked about, we were concerned, he was concerned, and rightfully so, about the pipeline rights that came from the old reservoir. And I have a copy of that deed that I gave to him. I brought a copy with me today if it's something that Laura would like to.
I have it.
Copy of. You have it?
I
Okay,
do.
great. And that protects the town in case they ever want to revitalize that line. It gives perpetual rights to.
This is the same area where the pipeline.
Well, the pipeline went right through where the chlorinated building was. They tapped into it. Right
Okay.
there. It probably was under the building or right beside it.
Okay,
Okay, so that pipeline right still exists. That hasn't gone anywhere. And it's perpetual.
okay,
But what we would like to do is have something in writing that we could record that would release from this lease arrangement, which no longer, specifically says this is what the purpose is. It's no longer being used for that, and it's just a blemish on the title. It would be nice if we could put something on record that would go away.
I don't have any issue with it as long as our pipeline rights are secured. I do think they need to go through the 4114A process. So that would be 2 public hearings, 10 to 14 days apart, and then another 7 days for a vote. So like a month out.
Because it's an asset to the town.
It's a real estate asset. Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
That's fine. Whatever. I mean, that's why you're here. One of those reasons.
I'll get you a timeline.
But it would seem like, from my point of view, just something that is on the town letterhead that just says we haven't used this for a long time and it's no longer valid. We don't wish to continue with the lease arrangement. And it does talk about either party has the right to extinguish it within 30 days. Something crazy. But
Okay.
I think something clean up on the registry would be good because it did get reported.
Will the future deeds, when they transfer, reflect that right? Or does it?
When this property transfers, or this property transfers, if they're different properties, they will be subject to that easement that has been granted to the town.
And it will be noted in their deeds?
It should be,
Right.
but even if it's not, it's
Okay.
still subject to it.
All right.
Because this is attached to that deed.
Right.
It's attached to the property.
This
The pipeline.
The
the
pipeline.
pipeline,
Yeah.
will be
Okay.
attached.
It's and on the plan that we're doing now, we're not surveying that end of the world. We're just surveying a lot around the house.
Okay.
And it's going to be a subdivision plan that will come here, of course, into the state. But they're planning on keeping like an acre and a half with the house and selling the rest of the 40 something acres off the woodlot. But this is applicable to the Woodbox way down the other end by the Broken Horse.
Okay, so the plan won't show the pipeline easement area?
No,
Okay.
no, but there's a note.
There is.
Generated a note to that effect, and
Okay.
also one about the coronator easement and
Okay.
whatever release is generated,
Okay.
so it would be easy to cross check. and see
Great.
that it's gone away.
Perfect.
Or run that more.
After two public hearings.
After two public hearings.
But if you would like to vote to instruct us to schedule those public hearings, we can do that.
Sounds good.
So I make a motion to instruct Judy to schedule the two public hearings to release this lease agreement.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
My last question, and I will gladly go home and have some dinner. Would be, would you like me to be at these public hearings, or it should be a no-brainer? I think.
I don't think it's necessary.
Agreed. Thank you.
Okay. You're welcome.
That was the answer.
We have all the documentation.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ray. Good to see you. Good to see you. Take care. Hi, next up, we have the Gordon Pond Trailhead access for lot 103-002. And I know, so there's been some discussion back and forth. We have received the letters from you folks that live up there. And so we decided to have a public discussion on that, because a lot of you had some questions. We noticed in the annual meeting minutes, there were some additional questions, so I think we'll start by just saying kind of what our intentions were as far as we were approached by the Forest Service, and you have some additional details on that. They were up looking at where the trailhead is or was prior up on Mountainside. They were looking to updating their AMC guidebook, and the trail kind of went up and then it zigzagged over to where they're talking about relocating it and then goes up, correct? Okay. And so their idea was to making the trailhead easier to access, just to relocate it there so that it's a straight up Gordon Pond. Nothing has been set in stone yet as far as it being relocated, but it is the White Mountain National Forest that is interested in relocating that trailhead to that area.
Yeah, they approached us, or approached me, and they drove up. For people that don't know, I live right at the bottom of the hill mountainside. I saw 3 trucks one day go up and head up one of the railroad grade, and so I was curious. I went up to see, and that's what they were doing. They were up on their property because they had resurveyed everything. And I was reading in the note part where you mentioned that they were surveying the Baden property. They weren't, they were surveying their property, and the Baden property was in a butter. And that's how that all came into the loop. And they were talking about, when they put out their new guide, of moving it because the parking areas down on Lost River Road are no longer available. And since you come up that road, take a right, go down the railroad grade, and end up exactly where it is, where the town property is. It just seemed like a logical area to not necessarily have people walk all the way up there, just so they can get to a spot where they could park their car to begin with, and then head up the trail. I'm reading here in the minutes where it says, was told by the selectmen that they would like to, would not consider selling the lot. We can't, it has to go out to bid because of the way it was acquired. And that the town wanted to develop it for future recreational use, gravel it, create a parking area, so on and so forth. The reality is we don't want to touch it.
I think the idea is just leave it the way it is.
Exactly the way it is.
No, a parking lot was never discussed.
No.
If there was 3 or 4 cars along the side of the road like they have been in the past, that was kind of our thought. And maybe work out something with you folks to maybe have some better regulations on the property, like no overnight camping, no,
No
minimum of
parking.
3 or 4 cars, no overnight parking, no, and try to work out something on that idea. So
Being a class 5 road, it already is no overnight parking.
Right.
You can't, so you don't even really have to, we can put up a sign that will tell people that, so they're not tempted to do it. But the reality is we don't have that, we have that regulation already in place.
Now, were there any other options that were considered besides Dr. Sundance?
That's where it starts.
But there, another thought, obviously, what about up on Clark Farm Road?
On the Clark Farm Road?
Yeah,
Well, that's,
because the town's got an easement to go up there to get through Ice Castle's property, to get on a White Mountain National Forest. And once you get on the White Mountain National Forest right there, there's a nice open area that's just up from the old apple orchard, that now you're on their property, I believe. Where that could be a place for them to park.
to my knowledge, is that gated going up to the tank?
There is a gate.
Another gate could be put in,
What's that?
another gate could be put in if needed.
There used to be a gate in fence line right at the farm. And then further up,
Yeah.
the US government, the government and the town have padlocks to that gate. That's the lock gate going up any further than East Castle property.
Right.
That goes in the forest.
But that idea would need to be discussed with the Forest Service.
And also, we can't let a lot of people near the water tank, period, just because it's a town.
Security.
I think that first part of that road is on East Castle property.
It is, yeah, the first section, I looked it up today, the first section is.
Yeah.
The spot where I'm talking about, where could be an ideal place to park, there's more trailhead, you remember Mike, how you go up the old apple orchard? And you cut across, there's a trail that wraps around and hooks back up with that trail at the top of Sunday.
That's beyond the gate.
It is beyond the gate, yeah,
And that's the problem.
okay.
I've been driving up there this summer, to the top of the cul-de-sac. I have seen 2 cars. If you go on the website, the All Trails website for New Hampshire, and you look up the trail in the order of which their size or height or whatever, they have the top 250. I've been as far up that list as 225, and Golden Pond Trail is not on there. It's a very minor 4.5 hour hike. So I think that kind of discourages people. They'd rather do something on a bigger scale. And I have seen, of course, I don't go up on weekends, but I do go up midweek. Just to ride up and see what's going on and see what and I've seen one car, I think it was PA plates, pulled actually down onto the property and off to the side, but left that open. And I've seen a van up there was actually from Massachusetts, I think, and they were parked well off the side of the road on the gravel where we would expect them to be anyways. But as far as develop anything, cutting down trees, putting in parking lots, the parking lot was a Forest Service thing. I had that discussion with Ryan Toomey from the Campton office. They also wanted to do the same thing up by the Merriam Woods, Russell Crag thing, with death on parking lots. We don't want to see parking lots, and there would not be one up there. Sir,
If there
If you can state your names, just for the minutes, if you guys can state your names when you speak,
yeah,
We-
I'm sorry.
we don't recognize
Blair
everybody.
Oliver, 131 Sunday.
Blair Oliver. Thank you, Blair.
If there's such little traffic for the trailhead, I'm not understanding why they want to move it, or any would want. You'll have to ask them. I don't know. And by the way, I did return your call. Thank you. But we weren't able to hook up.
Yeah, no, I
I'm glad we
appreciate
can
it.
now.
I think I got the information I was looking for back then. I appreciate the return of call.
Oh, my pleasure. I don't know why. They didn't give me a reason.
So just so I'm clear in my head, what is the plan? There's no plan to let people onto the 130 lot? So the plan is just to let people park in the street?
Off the shoulder. Off to where the gravel.
Like 3 cars.
Maybe 3 cars.
Yeah, there's no park in the road
So the
itself.
plan is to allow people to park on the property, but not to do anything on the property to expand the area that could be parked in.
And the property, from my understanding, just looking at the lots, surveys, is, wooded. It would be difficult to put a car actually on the property, so cars would be basically capturing the street when they park.
Can you,
Co-op
sorry,
down in there.
Wesley here, politics content. Can you show us where the location exactly we're going to, so we're going. We need to construct a spot, right?
We don't have a, he's looking for like specific fire, we're looking at people park on the side of the road.
Yeah, I think there's a few.
If you go,
We should do this with the Forest Service here. Should we table?
One meeting,
And
one meeting.
require another meeting with, let's gather questions and then
Yeah.
that way there. So here's what we're gonna do, because it does, a lot of these answers need to come from the White Mountain National Forest, so our thoughts is right now is let's gather. Share your questions with us, we'll make note of them, we'll share them out to the White Mountain National Forest, reschedule another public meeting or public forum with, and require the Forest Service to be here to help answer a lot of those questions.
Or they
Does
can
that sound
email them
fair?
to me.
Well, no, I think they should be here.
They should
Okay.
be here.
No, I
should be-
mean, they could email me the questions.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, if you think of other questions outside of this evening after we're done here, we'll take some questions right now and then we'll reach out to the Forest Service, give them all these questions, say, we're expecting answers and have them, we'll come back to another meeting.
Or have
Does
them
that
come
sound
to the
fair?
meeting.
It does.
Okay,
And just
Very
make
good.
things clear, so that lot is owned by town,
Yes.
right?
Correct.
Town doesn't want to do anything with that lot, and leave it as it is. Forest Service wants to call it a trailhead, but without doing anything, right?
Right.
So there will be no change to the current use or any
Yep.
look or anything that. So basically, all what we're talking about is the Forest Service will have somewhere, like Gil said, on their website that trailhead number 375
access is here.
access is there.
That was our thoughts, because it would, by recreation, for snowmobiles and things like that, that's the main snowmobile corridor, if we ever shut it off or anything like that, it would be
Right.
really tragic.
Just, Paula King from, Woodstock, one of the things that, we've worked really hard over all these years is upholding the covenants and restrictions in that area to preserve a particular feeling of the neighborhood, and one of the restrictions is there's to be no signage. So my question then would be to the Forest Service, are you going to honor that and any other restrictions that are in the covenants?
I discussed that with Brian Toomey, from the Canton office, and he said, after going through your, covenants, that there was a size restriction on size of signs, and they would be more than happy to adjust whatever it is that the homeowner association, or lot owner association would ask for.
It says one sign of not more than 2 square feet containing the name of the owner and the lot number.
All right, and Ryan has agreed to that already, as in principle.
So it couldn't say trailhead.
So,
So Leon from Sundance, so if they're gonna put a sign up, all they can do is put the name of who owns the lot and the lot and the number. They can't say trailhead or any of that stuff. That's what our covenants say.
That's what your covenants say. If they want to do something else, they'll need to work that out with you.
Paul Carroll and 52 Sundance, just for clarification, because I heard a word that kind of got me nervous for a second. Is this trailhead, is this hiking, or is this hiking and snowmobile, or both?
Hiking,
Hiking.
they've
Yeah,
always used the
contract.
sign.
Someone just mentioned it's a major thing for snowmobile.
It is.
It's your
Follow on,
association for them.
Could
and their
people come up with a
Yes.
snowmobile up the,
Not up your road,
No,
no, they would have to
I
use the
mean, but they
snowmobile
could come
trail.
up-
no, they gotta use the
Trailer.
snowmobile trail. Yeah.
no,
Oh,
no,
you're
they're not gonna
thinking-
come
no,
ripping
they
up
can
Sunday,
park
No.
Trailers up there.
no.
I
So,
think,
and they've been using that, actually, the trail was, I think, half developed by snowmobile riders going up to Gordon Pond anyways, and they they go up and they clear trails and they brush them out and do things like
I'm a
that, so it's
believer
been,
Murphy's
a
Law, what
mutual.
Can go wrong, will go wrong, and if there's access in there, someone may start, so I'm just getting a clarification.
I think, again, it was our intent, at least if this went through, is that we wouldn't really do any changes. Keep it natural, low key. There's a lot of Lost Valley homeowners use that access for recreation, they can use it and so forth, the rest of the towns should be able to do probably. Because it's town property.
Yes,
Bart King, Sundance Drive and, Ross River. One thing that I'd like the Forest Service to answer is, Gil has said he doesn't know why they want to change it. I'd like them to explain why. And, if there has been no impact and it's been okay,
why have a large amount of people be kind of opposed to this as opposed to no one opposed to where it is? And why would they want to change it as a result?
I think it's part of the reason why they want to do that, because there's no more really parking, the parking lots from where the Boney's was, where they used to park, are no longer available.
That wasn't a maximum of 3 cars.
What's that?
You know, did they have more than 3 cars there?
Not that I remember.
Well, the trouble with the Gabonese, they're on the river that, you know. I mean, you could never decide what was happening. I don't think much was happening. And then everybody was under the waterfall.
Hold on, we have Blair and then Paula.
Yeah, so again, just, I appreciate your patience, just so I understand. So what we're saying is that there's no parking on 112, and there's off-road parking on 112, and there's no off-road parking on Sundance as well, but we are entertaining the move because of the parking situation.
No, there's no overnight parking on Sundance.
There's no overnight parking.
Right.
Okay.
That's the distinction, I think.
Okay.
So.
So we're gonna go, we got a couple hands up here. Mark and Karen.
Hi, it's Karen. We're at 60 Sundance.
Thank
And
you.
my question is just regarding the town's choice to deny access to the lot. I mean, if they don't allow access to the lot, can the trailhead, how are they going to relocate the trailhead?
I think the concern with that is if we deny access, we have to deny it for all, not just one entity or one person or one individual.
And that is an option?
So that we remove the access to everyone, even folks that live up on Sundance would not be able to access that property.
I just want to clarify that that is an option.
It's not an option we're considering.
That's
No.
nothing we're considering.
We weren't even thinking about it, no,
Right.
in the least.
Thank you.
Can I ask why that would be?
Pardon?
Can I just ask for clarification why that would be? Is it just cooperation with the National Forest or?
Not necessarily. The reason why we chosen not to deny access to that is because when we obtained it by deed, the idea was to have it available for recreational purposes. For folks to be able to access, to walk that area,
Not to commercialize it.
not to commercialize it.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you. Miles.
They're muted, Miles.
I just asked him to unmute.
How's that? Can you hear me now?
There you go.
There you go.
Okay, Miles Moran, Snowkin Drive. I'd like to know what the town's agreement is with John Fadden to come across through that property and pull sugar out of there. I was on that trail last winter and 2 vehicles approached me and I had no idea it was even being used as an access road to get in there. And I sit here and go, well, you're talking about letting people park there, yet you can drive a vehicle through there. So what's to stop them from driving all the way down and parking, down lower? I don't get it. So that's one of the things I wanted to know from the town. And then I also would agree with Bart King. I would like to hear from the Forest Service what their reasoning is from relocation of the trail. And I'd like to know if the town is opposed to working out a location on Clark Farm Access Road. I think that can be done. And I think that's a better location for it. But I'd like to know what the opposition is to using that property.
We'll have to look into that more and have a conversation with Mike Welch regarding access through that Clark Farm and obviously ice castles.
And you have the people here doing the security.
They have
of our
both
lot.
sides of that road,
Right.
posted no trespassing.
Right.
On their section.
The biggest concern with Clark Farm Road is.
We have access to the road, we don't have access through their property.
Right,
Because
and the
they're
big
building stuff
concern is
out
the
to the
water.
roads.
our water, right,
So I think it's something we can look at.
it's the security of our water up there,
Right,
which serves.
we're working on that.
Yeah, they're here working on that, so it would have to be run through.
Okay, and then, what's that?
Yes, something else.
The MOU or the license agreement with.
Oh, yeah.
With Fadden's, and that is something, it's renewed annual with them, that provides them with a vehicle access to their property, their 300 acres. It is gated, it's, when that's not in use, we have a key and he has a key, correct? Is it not gated? I thought we had a rope that goes across that so that people don't drive.
Well, it's not, there will be.
You never know.
I think that's how we don't.
It must.
I thought there was.
I had something up at one time, the
Okay.
snowmobilers were going out there for the trail.
Oh,
So
he
you
did,
did
okay,
put something on the other side
but
of
we
the
had
line.
access across.
The gate is sitting on the side of the road, it's in the woods.
Okay, so it's since taken
I
down,
think we can make that happen.
great, so we don't have people driving out there, but,
Well,
and so there is a.
It's very hard to hear.
That is public access, so it can be shared.
Miles can submit a right to know request and you get a copy of the agreement if you
Right.
like.
I mean, you
Anybody
can
can.
get, we give you a copy of that, Miles, if you want, but,
Yeah.
it basically, they're landlocked without that. They'd be out of business without access.
I don't have to move anything in this thing.
Did I see a hand just go up there?
Well, mine was earlier, but again, for the Forest Service or anyone here that might know, I guess it's almost a moot point, but my question was going to be if the trailhead didn't move and they were able to make an agreement, for more cars to be pulled over, how then did they use reference to Gavoni's? How then does a hiker leave his car on that side of Lost River Road and get up to the trail?
How are they accessing it right
How
now?
are they accessing the trail if
They're
they wanna
not.
hike it? Why not?
I don't, because there's no place for them to park.
But if there were, and when there was, how did they get up to the trail from that
They
location?
just walked up mountainside, walked all the way down to where the cul-de-sac is now, and then went up. So all that's happening is it's being, all that would happen would be that they would save time of going up mountainside and then
And
walking the
Mountainside is the
railroad.
road next to your house?
What's that?
Where is Mountainside? Can you help me?
Yes, it's right next to my
That's
house.
the one that goes up.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
That's mountainside.
Okay. Yes, Bill.
Bill Waterhouse. There are 3 roads being mentioned here. And I was confronted, I bumped into folks in the forest behind my home, saying that they had been up on mountainside to hike. And they were told that that trail had been moved and they could not use that property. That is a class 6 road and it is 50 feet wide. Sundance, that's a town road, class 5, that is 50 feet wide. Reservoir Road, I don't know if that is 6 or 5 or the reservoir or the Forest Service status with that. But I believe that is also 50 feet wide. I don't, somebody already mentioned, what is the difference going to be in parking? Well, if you go up mountainside, you certainly park 50 feet wide. If you go up Lost Valley, that's 50 feet wide. If you go up Reservoir Road, that's 50 feet wide. Ice Castle, I don't think they own it. The no trespassing signs are for the property on either side. So that's one point that we're taking from 50 feet to 50 feet to 50 feet, and we're trying to come up with reasons as to why. And as far as parking in Lost Valley, my wife was out rehabbing her knee this spring on a flat surface after surgery, And she was approached by a town employee and told that she couldn't park there because there's a sign. And she couldn't park there because if the police came by and her car was parked there, she would be ticketed. So what is the parking status within Moss Valley? And that no parking, up by the power line,
No parking in the road.
No parking in the
The
road.
road is 50 feet wide.
There's no parking in the road.
Yeah, but the pavement is not 50 feet wide. It's like mountainside. You say there may be a 50-foot right of way going up through, but the road is only 12 feet.
Right.
And so then there's a stone wall up the side, so you can't park in the, these roads aren't actually 50 feet wide. The right of way may be 50 feet wide.
But you could park,
On the
you
pavement
travel these
portion.
roads in the summer.
On the paved portion, yeah.
People are parked off the pavement. That's the road.
What the ordinance says is no one shall park on the paved portion of the road.
Right. You can't be on the pavement. And she was parked on the pavement. I'm the one I talked to her. And she was parked on the pavement of the road. And I just mentioned to her, if she's gonna, she said she's rehabbing, she's gonna be there quite a bit. So I just figured to keep her from getting into trouble or getting anything from the PD to just not park in the road. I mean, I didn't specify pavement, I'm sorry, but.
So what a Clark Farm Road, I'm sorry, Reservoir Road. What would be the parking there? What's the limitation? It's 50 feet. Now, I've never been on Mountainside, it's up the road there, but what would be the difference in residential density as compared to Sundance? As far as where there are more houses on Mountainside or less houses that,
It's not much of a road.
No, it's not. Very, very narrow.
Yep, these are Forest Service questions. So what I'd say.
We'll have them there.
Yeah. At this point, I think, any additional questions from what we've gathered tonight, if you have any, I would say, email them to you by Friday.
Why don't they all just email them in, then
Okay.
make sure we get them all.
We don't know when the Forest Service. can
Right,
come.
but if we can get the questions to Judy by this Friday, we can get them off to the Forest Service and then we can arrange something for later in this season to meet with them and discuss
That way I don't miss
and
anything.
get all your answers. Yep. And have a full, complete, hopefully a complete discussion. Does that sound fair?
Because we're trying to answer
Great.
for them and we can't.
Right, and we should, nor should we be, so. Great, thank you all for coming out this evening and sharing your thoughts and your concerns, we appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We got one more. Yeah, I think I saw everybody sign it. All right, so next up, we have an email regarding Tripoli. Thank you very much. So at, back in, I think it was one of our July meetings, we had kind of said that with Tripoli Road, we were gonna proceed as we have been, since we've been maintaining it like that for over 20 years. You, Mark, sent in some questions regarding that, and questions regarding like the maintenance of it, and any type of, issues that may arise with that road. Yeah.
So one of the things, like in the past, totally unrelated to anything recent, was there came an issue, speed limit.
Yes.
Just for that section from the gate.
Yeah.
To, can we close that?
I'm gonna do that.
Okay. And I actually had a friend who worked in Waterville that stopped.
Yeah.
At the bottom of the hill, and I kind of chuckled, and I saw the cruiser there one day, and I drove the same speed limit. He actually let me go by him 4 times. Nice enough, but he told me that was a town road, speed limit's 25, I know better, I should know better. And I told him, at the time, I didn't know whose road it was, I was trying to find out, and this was even before a year ago when we were trying to find out.
Right.
But,
I'm sorry, was it a Woodstock officer who told you
Yeah.
that it was 25?
yeah. To his comment, there's a speed limit 25 in both directions. But it's beyond the gate. So as you're coming down from the Thornton side,
Yeah.
Russell Pond side,
Yeah.
it says 25, but if you just get off the highway, go to the gate, turn around,
Right,
it's
there's no signage.
just from observations for the last 3 years, they come down, get past that gate and they're motoring.
Yeah.
And I've made a few complaints about that. And so who do if we're doing prescriptive rights for the road, are we taking the right of way and all its maintenance or just the road and?
We're not doing anything with prescriptive rights. Prescriptive rights is a can of worms we don't want to get into. I did talk to the selectmen about your email before you came in. And I said, well, why don't we just ask the feds to give us the road?
But it's not the Fed's road.
The state owns the road,
Right.
but if the feds give us the right to it, if they, let go of their class 7 status of the road and it just all becomes a class 5 town road, then we can regulate it, no problem.
According to Kevin Tilton, they've never had ownership of the road. It's just been an easement over locals' property.
Right.
And they've
So-
had prescriptive rights for the section through there.
So
So
we
does
can
that
get-
mean they own it?
No, the state owns it. The state doesn't want it, clearly.
Doesn't
That's what
recognize
they-
it as
yeah.
theirs.
So if we can get the feds to give us something in writing that says, you can maintain the road and that's not gonna interfere with our easement. And if we get the state to give us something in writing that says, go ahead and maintain the road, then I have no problem with the town treating it as a class 5 road, which means they can regulate the speed limit, though getting it down to 25 is a bit of a
No.
process.
Well, I would ask for a
Yeah.
you do a study on
Yeah,
the road.
exactly,
and
exactly.
you take that.
And then they can fix the guardrails and they can maintain all the issues that are out there. So our thought is to reach out to these other parties and say, look, you clearly don't want it. Can you just acknowledge that it's a class 5 town road and then we'll treat it that way?
And then we can maintain it and pave it and stuff.
So when we do that, does the right of way come with that?
The right of way should, the right of way is what we should get access to. It's not just the road. So
Right.
when you're doing a prescriptive road, it is just the part of the road that people have been using, plus like a really small.
Municipal highway.
Yeah. If we know the state owns the right of way, and if they're willing to give it to us, we would get the whole right of way. And they seem to have acknowledged to Roy that they own it. So, but if they don't want it, let us take it. Let's solve this problem for all of us.
So then moving forward, we're reaching out to White Mountain National Forest.
I'm gonna reach out to, I'm gonna reach out to the feds and the state and see if I can just get everyone sort of on the same page.
Okay, because Campton seems to say the state has it, they just won't give it up.
No, this is probably
Well-
above their pay grade.
Say the state owns it, that doesn't necessarily mean that you can't be a class 5 town road. Most roads, as you know, the town doesn't own, we have an easement over.
Right.
So, if they don't wanna give us the ownership, that's fine, but just. The state doesn't take any maintenance of it, so the state shouldn't really care whether it's the feds or the town maintaining it. And if the feds aren't maintaining it, everyone should be thrilled that the town wants to. Unfortunately, we can't spend highway dollars on anything that's not a class 5 road, so we just sort of need to make that
Yeah.
technical.
Well, this partially came like for the snow plowing, I was told I had to plow, it's like, well, do I have to take care of the guardrail and everything else and the other? And I just had questions about. Well, is that the right and final thing to do? That's all.
Yeah, you haven't had to plow it. Yeah.
I got the plow ready to go.
As soon as you put.
I'll sell you international. It's a big one, but saying that, you paying for it. I'll set you right out.
Enough dinner.
I'll give you a whole group.
No, Laura came up with a productive idea. instead of saying no, she said we should do this, so.
Yeah.
I want to get you to yes. I would like to have it resolved for everyone. It's just gonna make it easier on me going forward.
Okay. That works. Cool, thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you. Good, so. With that, Laura, we can relieve you of your. Now we just have to adopt some policies, right?
It's good to see everyone.
You too, thank you for your time today, I appreciate it.
Glad you're all refreshed on vacation.
It's always something.
Safe travels back down.
Thanks.
So we have up first. The credit card policy, employee credit card policy. Do I have a motion to accept?
Yep.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, all those in favor? Aye. Financial management plan, did anybody see anything in that?
No,
All right, motion to accept the financial management plan. Do I have a second?
Yep.
Sorry,
I motion,
oh, sorry.
do I have a second?
Yeah.
Okay, all those in favor?
uh,
Aye. Next up, we have the fund policy, not fun, but fund.
Nothing fun about it.
Was there any comments on that? No? All right, motion to accept the fund policy. Do I have a second?
Yes.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We have up the purchasing policy. Was there anything anybody's gotten that? One of these had a date that was off, but it was not that well.
Are you talking about
I'm
the
making-
top
yeah,
where it said July 11th?
right.
Yeah.
That it's supposed to be like that, because then it says and thereon, because that's when we
Okay.
started it.
Okay, so I'll make a motion to accept the purchasing policy. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Oops. And then we have the investment policy. Is there anything in that? Was there was a line through the bottom of it, was it just the way it scanned in? Yeah,
It was.
yeah, because you just held it up, that it was above, it was like a. Yeah, that page right there, this signature,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
Right on the pages on right side up.
so I make a motion to accept the investment policy, do I have a second?
Second.
We got that? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. She's gonna hit you. Last up, we have the capital.
Somebody.
Oh, I'm sorry. Last we have the capital asset and depreciation policy. Was there anything in that anybody had?
No.
How come, the effective, under the, this was the one, under the effective date, it has March 2016, and then it has readopted December 13th,
You have to
2021.
readopt every year.
So you
and
will now add readopt
No, it
today's
was,
date?
it would first took effect in the
Yeah.
16th. You would have to do these adoptions
year.
every year and look at them.
Okay,
So every year the readopted date changes and they have the past years.
okay.
These are
So
all
make
there.
yeah, make a motion to accept the capital asset and depreciation plan. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, all those in favor?
Gosh, this one.
Under old and other business, the fire truck. Yeah, we made, so in the workshop,
No, this is not that.
this is this is a different thing, okay. But I had in my mental note
No, right here, right under your names right here. It's just set up a little
Oh,
bit.
that we do need to set, when bids and stuff are due. We
Oh,
set,
we never thought
we
about
never
that.
thought of that. We set the minimum bid for that 1948 Mack
I would
truck.
typically just go to your next meeting that they, as long as there's like 2 weeks, and then I post it. for
You
your
gotta
next meeting.
advertise it.
Okay, so you haven't advertised
I
it
have
yet,
not
so
yet.
we won't see this for 2 meetings, probably. to give people enough time to.
Realistically, yes, because
be fair.
I'm working by myself for the rest of the week.
Yeah.
And it depends on when it gets to the paper to get published.
Okay,
So we're better off doing it in 2 meetings.
okay, so
Yeah.
you've got it under control.
And it will be scheduled out on your regular meetings. That's how we typically.
Okay,
do it.
no, that's
That
fine,
works.
I just thought of that, but, so we have a grant that the fire department,
No.
oh.
So,
Says USDA.
yeah, well, it is a grant that we're applying for. So
Okay,
the USDA apparently operates a little different than all the other grants.
okay,
And in our warrant article, the town did vote to, for you guys to determine the rate of interest and authorize the selectmen to apply, accept and expend any grants available. The USDA likes theirs to be very specific.
okay,
So although you have the town vote to do so, they need you in a selectmen's meeting to specifically discuss the approval to apply and accept a USDA grant in the amount of $65,000. So pretty much once you announce that, you just need to announce that we applied for one in April.
Okay.
We have not been awarded it, and once we are awarded it, we will hold a public hearing pursuant to RSA 31:95B to accept the funds.
Okay.
But you need to open the floor to the public comment.
Okay.
About us applying for it.
Okay.
And then, after that, we'll have Scott sign all the documents.
Okay.
In the future,
Okay.
so.
Can we do that right now?
Yeah, you can do all of, if you just kind of, this
Yep.
is exactly what she told Tom and I on the phone.
Okay, so, we're gonna let you all know right now that we have applied for a USDA grant for 65,000. Kudos to the fire department and the folks that worked on that in April. We're now gonna open the floor, to a public hearing.
Nope, not a
No.
public hearing.
No, okay,
No, you
you
just-
just open the floor to public comment. And then if the grant is accepted, we will then have a public hearing to accept the funds,
Right, if we get it.
if we are awarded, so.
What do you
Are there any
think? We ought to go for
questions?
65 grand or just
What's
let
the
it
hold
fly?
up?
Right,
Hold up, right?
the little check sheet that we just got.
Any other questions? Okay, so, we'll make a motion to allow Scott Rice, Selectman Rice, to sign the grant application and all future documents for this grant, if awarded.
I'll make that motion.
I will second that. All those in favor? Aye.
Thank you.
Yes.
It's we're down to the crunch. We got lost in the shuffle and we, well, because you were copied on some of the emails, when we were told we were awarded it.
Well, these
That was-
grants have so many steps,
Then they told us we weren't,
And
then
we've got
Tom and I got an
13 of them
email
out
that
there.
says we were missing this stuff. Some was in the packet. There's been a change in hands.
Yep.
And we thought we were all set with the warrant article. But she says that they're very specific. So,
I just have something else to bring forward. I know notices went out about the Kank rec center and the facility and programming meeting that's occurring. There'll be one this Wednesday night at 6:30 at the Kank rec building. And then there's going to be another one on October 5th at 6:30 at the Kank rec building. And it's just a meeting to kind of gather, it's a forum to hear thoughts and suggestions from the public about what type of enhancements they'd like to see at the rec or with any type of rec programming, thoughts for the future and looking at 1 to 3 years, 5 years, and then even, 10 years out. Really a great opportunity. It's open to both Lincoln and Woodstock residents, although it's not exactly like the solid waste municipal agreement that we have where everything's 50-50. They are welcoming, our thoughts and suggestions. So as many residents as Woodstock residents that we can get out there too. Especially since a lot of us still use that area. It would be great to have some input, so. So again, this Wednesday night and then Thursday, October 5th at 6:30. So that's all I have.
And then we have the water study is complete pretty much. And we're gonna have a-
Yeah, we need to
couple
review that and then.
meetings.
that was sent. I got your email today.
It's sent there.
Kathy had sent that to Penachuk and everybody, so
She
it's
had,
all
okay.
in it's in everybody's hands now. And once she hears back, then we'll
Schedule it. Okay.
schedule it. And then we'll have a public hearing. She'll come back for another public hearing.
That's all good news.
And we had the cybersecurity people here on the water system and the sewer treatment plant. We were very fortunate to get in. They get us in and they're a well-renowned company. Well, they're from the state, but I think it went well. And we'll wait to hear back. But
Great, all right.
'Cause now he can control everything from his phone, so we're worried about Mike.
Well, no,
Or someone getting his phone.
the guy was with him for the facility as well, so it wasn't just like, it
Just, oh, good.
was not just cyber, it was
I know.
the facility.
That's-
But it's coming down the pipe, so we'll have a plan and be ready for the next step after cyber.
Public comment, public participation. But Bill and then Mark.
Good. I just had a quick, so the purchasing policies and stuff you guys are those like an annual thing that you reviewed? Okay, and where do we see them?
You can come in anytime, I make copies for you.
I was just curious, because
Yeah, you
I just assumed it was a annual review.
It's to do a lot with the auditors coming and our auditing, and making sure that they are,
It's policies, how much you can spend without,
right, going,
you know,
like, how much before you go out to bid.
it is interesting, really.
But you're more than welcome to copies of them. Absolutely.
I just didn't know if it was something new or an annual.
Oh, no,
review.
this is-
It's an annual.
Some
yeah.
of these have been since 2011. We have to provide them every year. They have to look at them, read them. They'll give us suggestions if things are changing or they'll, but they really haven't. It's a lot to do with GASB. It's government accounting.
Thank you. Bill and then Paul.
Yes, just help me out with roads here because I've been walking the dog. I used to be able to access the Gordon Pond Trail just by going out my back door and following the old railroad bit. I can't do that anymore since the three families did a land swap and it's not accessible. So I go up to the top of Sundance, I turn around and I make sure that I am off of the pavement. So no parking signs mean on the pavement, or is that the whole right?
That's a town ordinance.
Right,
It's
and
in
the town
the
ordinance says,
new ordinances that they just,
right, that,
I
no
believe
person
it's
shall
here.
park any vehicle on the paved portion of any public street, class 5 town road, or on the sidewalks.
So, but if I now go up. I have been the steward for the Gordon Pond Trail for 2 years. If I go across, there is no problem traveling with my vehicle into the ice castles, taking the left, and then going up the road until the gate. Is that correct? I don't know.
I think we have to look at platform. I
We
think
gotta
we
look
can
at
make.
that, because that is our main water line going up through. And we can have people parking in the road. In case we've gotta get there, or the government's gotta get up through that road,
Right.
and there's boulders and there's not very much terrain for parking.
Is that all, what public road, or is it
I don't-
part right of way through their property? I don't know.
I understood as a right of way
I
going
think
through.
We need to look at this
We
more.
need to
We don't know.
We don't
gotta
know.
look at
We
platform.
don't
So look into the reservoir road.
Yeah.
Right.
Because that is, the sides of that road are all mowed. And I don't know how you define a road when it's
The gravel part where there's no grass and no vegetation is the road, that's what we travel on. But under some of them boulders and near some of them boulders is over the top of our water line that goes up through. And there's some places you could get off to the side, I imagine, but there's other places pretty murky up through there, you have to get
You
stuck
should
with
do
a
it, yeah, I
small
know, you
car.
should do a field trip.
But you don't have to go far up, is for people to.
We're gonna go for a field trip. It's not gonna let it.
We gotta try to figure out who owns what.
Because there's no parking areas up through that. I mean,
Right.
it's not
Yeah, we gotta do.
one lane road basically going up through, just a dirt
We
road.
don't know what.
It's not always that passable.
Right.
We've done some work to it, but
We'll work on that.
The folks that live at the farmhouse though, when I go through and I wander up there. They're very cordial, it's not as if, hey, what are you doing on this road?
Yeah.
And then, as I said.
That's nice, that's what people are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
they will.
Okay,
Great, thank you.
thank you.
Good question.
Yes, sir.
Well, basically due to family needs, I've been, the last couple of years, I've been out of town more than I've been in town. And I really appreciate, the updating of the selectmen meeting minutes and the other ones, because it gives me a gist of what's going on. So I did have a couple of questions, these aren't complaints, but just regarding grants in general, because I read them. Do any of these come with strings attached to them? Like if we give you this money, you're gonna have to do this, this and this and so on.
For the
I
grants,
know.
You know, to get a
We
government
have to-
grant.
I think you have to tell them what you're gonna do. Then you have to say, you have to do what you said you were gonna do.
For the money, you know, you have to have.
Okay,
a
but
yeah, we
plan
can't
to
grab it and
spend.
just throw it in the general.
It's
fund.
not like money going to school systems, you know, you get this federal money that you gotta do this, this and this.
Oh, no, no, specific projects and
Right.
specific,
We
yeah,
have to do reporting.
we do a lot of reporting.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The second,
I know we do.
yeah, the second thing I,
Speaking of.
just for general conversation is that, every time I get back at the end of the year, I find different things in the town that kind of surprise me, but the one thing that kind of sticks in my craw at the moment, and I know we've all, as a, you know, townspeople gone through the things on zonings and so on and so forth. But this situation up the street, it's not a business, it's a dump. Are there any ordinances we can find that they're breaking or something that can get that
We
cleaned
try.
up?
I think we should try.
We tried, that's, well, they're in the state right
get it off
away.
of Main Street.
Yeah,
Here.
but it's still not good.
No.
It's pretty bad.
They are in the state right away, the state has sent letters, it's, I don't know,
We, Jimmy used to say that there's, no law says you can't crap up your own property. And that's pretty much,
But the thing is,
that's pretty accurate.
they, vehicles there.
They have been told
Jump.
that they can't move, they can't use that property by the state. Because 112 is US Route 112. As soon as you stick this US in front of it, it becomes a state or federal.
We're
highway.
just scenic highway and
I think.
And we're in full agreement with you about what,
What is it?
but I go by there probably more than you do. And they're like stealth, you know, you drive by and it won't be anything, you drive by the next day, all of a sudden it's all piled up again, then it goes away a little bit, then you go by another time, I'm sure you see it, Bill. It's a constantly changing
are there you?
situation there. Now the mattresses hanging out of it.
I'm just thinking we might have a case now where he's got some vehicles in there and on, you know, stuff like gasoline and stuff like that.
U-Haul is in there anymore.
No.
And the
because
state,
The state said no
state
business.
right of way is 28 feet from center line. They had me measure at one time.
Well, that,
Because he had
So
submitted,
28 feet from center line, if he has anything in that, the state can make him move it out of that. So what he does,
It's
it gets
awful.
moved beyond the 28 feet, to clear their right of way.
there's not always 28 from the center line.
no, but that's, you know, really up to them to enforce and they send us the letters, but
Well, we should throw them under the buses.
we tried.
Alright.
Anyways, I
Send
don't
them
know.
another letter and. Yeah.
We can call the state again.
I know,
I don't know.
it's
Ask them
terrible.
to come back out for.
Yeah.
another
the
review.
I could
people
do-
that live around there, their housing values or property values are going down,
Mm-hmm.
but anyways, you probably, as I say, since I haven't been around for a while, I'm sure it's been discussed already, but I just wanted to
You
make
guys
my
all have
comment.
that junkyard book. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if, because we don't have zone, I'm not
Yeah.
sure. There's a lot to it. We started the process and then we've just been so busy that of looking into.
Started with problems.
What
Well,
is the junkyard?
we got junkyard books to start working on. All of us have, but we just have so many other.
And if
things.
we
We're
can
trying to get there.
designate it a junkyard, then it is regulated by the state.
But whether we can, because we don't have zoning, I don't know. There's a lot of,
And there have to be fences up around it, if it is designated as a junkyard. Similar to, we have, excavation things where they have a natural berm. Like down on the Rogers property on Route 3, we went through that and they did that, they complied and put that berm up there. But when it comes to junkyards or even cars, if it's a car and you can still get parts off it, it's considered inventory, according to the junkyard. So they can leave a junk piece of there, and if they can take the steering wheel off and stick it on somebody else's car, that's considered, the car's considered inventory. So but I don't know for sure. This has not been declared a junkyard, so, and it's on a state highway.
we weren't able to do anything out on Thornton Gore. The only time we could intercept was when it got into the right of way. And then we were able to send a letter telling them that they had to get it out of the right of way, but we didn't have any authority over what was there.
He had a fence up too.
Yes.
No, yeah, but not towards,
Outside
it was
fence.
outside.
Once it,
Yeah.
once it exceeded the fence, he had to move it back in, and he did.
An email or letter to the state.
With zoning.
That's not all we can do. It's in, what's that?
What's the comments, like Thornton's got zoning, you can't have, I know John wanted to store cars down at the farm,
Mhm.
and he couldn't.
It might have something to do with the form.
Some verbiage that they're utilizing, but that's.
But they have
Yeah,
zoning, but they have zoning.
Yeah,
They
zoning,
can,
so
or maybe
I don't
it's
know.
some type of ordinance. I don't know.
I see most of his stuff now is undercover. He's got them inside the barn and the stalls.
Most of this stuff's up north.
Right.
Gibbers.
No,
No.
no.
Oh.
not here.
He has a field in Whitefield,
Oh, really?
Oh, I didn't know about that.
yeah, some other place that doesn't have zoning and.
Oh,
Wow.
I didn't know that.
I didn't,
Very good.
initiate a conversation. I was in Lincoln. And somebody asked me if I had heard, and it might be worth a phone call. That they had an issue with a property owner.
I can imagine.
And that property owner, it went to the Supreme Court in the state, and the state said, it's your property, you can do with it what you want.
I think
Hence
it is.
Jimmy's evaluation of it. No,
Without zoning,
no recourse.
Very,
It's heard of that?
no
I
start.
I was reading on it.
Okay, thank you.
Boring, yeah.
Unfortunately.
Good
We
luck
can
with
try,
that.
but yeah, we can ask the state to take a look at it again and remind them.
I can tell you, we didn't issue a building permit to that property because of that.
Right.
So we've done our part.
Yeah, the state said the driveway is too small to operate a business out of there. Right.
And yeah, so.
It's on city.
But I think as far as the person that owns it, still owns it and lives in Florida. He's not gonna do a thing to help. Cause he's getting rental
Right.
fees.
Yep. All right. Anything else? Oh,
Motion adjourned?
motion to adjourn. Scott Rice, do I have a
I'll second
second?
Usually it's.
All those in favor?
Skills-
Thank you all.
skills set.
Thank you.
Gail seconds.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for your time tonight. Great to see everybody.
Yes. Yeah, well,